Hey, this is Scene Detail. I'm Chris. This is my dog, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for InvictaFC 6, Coenen versus Cyborg 2, which is going to happen on July 13th. Like all Invicta cards, I am greatly looking forward to it. As far as the fight card looks, just on paper, I mean, Namajunas versus Tecia Torres is awesome. We got the Bad Mofo, Joanne, Calderwood fighting, Jessica Penne's fighting, Leslie Smith, Cyborg, Coenen, Claudia, Gadelha, Sarah the Monster. I mean, it is just a really good card, top to bottom. Greatly looking forward to it. Expecting great things from it as well. Yeah, let's just get started. On the main card at 145 pounds. For the inaugural featherweight title, we have Marloes, Rumina, Coenen versus Cristiane, Cyborg, Justino. Back in Strikeforce in January 2010, Cyborg beat Coenen by TKO. It was actually a good fight. It was one of the better women's fights out there during the time. One thing that was really noticeable, I think even like Jordan Breen brought it up in the SRN, is like that fight showed that it didn't look like too like low level. It didn't look like a low level fight, or like I guess what some would define as like a girls fight. It just looked like a good MMA fight. With Coenen 21-5 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 15 wins by sub. She's 32 years old on a 2-fight win streak, and she trains at Golden Glory. She does have good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Her kickboxing and a technical standpoint is pretty solid. Her takedown defense has always not been that great. With Cyborg, you kind of know what you got with her. Overpowers her opponents. She has KO power. She's kind of a brawler. She's really strong. Trains at Shoot the Box. Also trains in like San Diego as well, in like the arena and other places. I didn't realize that she's only 27 years old. I figured for some reason like she was a bit older. 11-1 record with no contest. 9 of those wins by KO or TKO. I gotta go with Cyborg to win the rematch here. I don't think Coenen has the power to finish Cyborg, whether it be strikes. I don't know if she can take it to the ground and work her ground game on Cyborg, and I think Cyborg's just definitely gonna rush her, gonna definitely throw some heavy leather, just kind of overpower her, and possibly get the stoppage. Next fight after that, 115 pounds, Claudinha Gadelha fights Ayaka Hamasaki. With Hamasaki, she's 9-0 undefeated, 1 win by TKO, 4 wins by sub. She's 31 years old, strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I believe she trains with Megumi Fuji, along with in Norway, if I'm not mistaken. They both train with her. With Gadelha, she's also 9-0 undefeated, 1 win by TKO, 6 wins by sub. She's 24 and she trains at Nova União. She is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Stand-up's alright, at best. But her offensive takedown ability is also pretty good, from what I've seen from her. I'll go, and also training with Nova União. I gotta go with Gadelha to win this one. Next fight after that, at 135 pounds, we have Sarah the Monster Delelio versus Lauren Taylor. Delelio, I'm actually surprised she hasn't been signed to the UFC. She's a very solid bantamweight. 7-3 record, 1 win by TKO, 5 wins by sub. In her last one against Amanda Nunes, I mean, she was showing some really good. She's always had some good wrestling, good positional control when she's on top. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is solid. 5 over 7 wins are by sub. Lauren Taylor, she's 6-0 undefeated with 5 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. She's 29 years old, trains at Gracie, Baja, Alaska. She fought Caitlin Young in the last fight. She lost the first round, won the next 2. She actually showed some pretty good takedowns and ground and pound in that fight. Otherwise, I think Sarah Delelio just has too much experience over higher level competition, and a really strong grappling game. I gotta go with Sarah the Monster D'Alelio to win this one. Next fight after that, I'm really looking forward to this one at 125 pounds. This is supposed to be a #1 contenders fight, so the winner of this gets Barb Honchak, as Leslie the Peacemaker Smith fights Jennifer Maia. Man, this is a tough one to call. Leslie's making that cut to 125. She wasn't particularly a small 135 or anything. She's kind of tall. Actually, her record's really deceiving too. 5-3 record with 1 draw. 3 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by decision. She trains at Caesars Gracie's. She's 30 years old. Her technique is not very good. It's just, on a technical standpoint, she's not the greatest. But man, does she make up for it with... She's like a Diaz brother, though. She's kind of a brawler. She's always pushing forward, super aggressive, good chin, always high output, hitting the body, hitting the head, punches, kicks. She knocked down Sarah Kaufman in her last fight in the 2nd round, with a head kick. And her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually pretty solid as well. But she is fighting, it is her first cut to 125. She is fighting Jennifer Maia, has a 7-2 record with 1 draw. 1 win by TKO, 4 wins by sub. She's 24 and on a 2-fight win streak. Trains at Shoot the Box. Also really aggressive. Her stand-up's pretty solid. If you watch just summer fights, solid leg kicks and punches. She showed really good aggression again, and took advantage of Zoila Frausto's Gurgel's took advantage of Gurgel's tendency to back up against the cage a lot, and just backs up in general. And when you mix in that aggressiveness from Maia, who's always pushing forward, it's just trouble for Gurgel. She actually has some pretty solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, as 4 of her 7 wins are by submission. This one's actually hard for me to call. I think they're going to go at, I really think this is going to be an interesting fight. You got both of them are some pretty high pressure fighters. Smith has a really high output and good chin, never say die attitude. I think she's a star in the making, to be honest with you. I gotta go with Leslie the Peacemaker Smith to win this one. Next fight after that, 105 pounds, Jessica Penne, former InvictaFC Atomweight champion, fights Nigdali the Night Queen Rivera-Calanoc. With Penne, she has a 10-2 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. She's 30 years old, trains at Rain MMA, super flexible, really good off her back. She can pull guard and be very dangerous, good at sweeps and whatnot. Strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Had a hell of a fight against Michelle Watterson in her last fight. And in the stand-up, she actually has a pretty good jab. She's pretty tall for the weight class. Not too bad in the stand-up. With Rivera-Calanoc, 8-6 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by decision, 2 losses by sub as well. She's 27 years old. She's very aggressive. She's her strategy is always the same. She kind of bullies her opponent against the cage. She's like a little pit bull. Works from there, works for her takedown and whatnot, and really has kind of a bullying style of fighting. Unfortunately, stylistically, she's not. This is kind of a bad. In my opinion, this is a bad matchup for her. I think Penne takes this. I think she has better stand up, and if it does go to the ground, I think Penne is. She can just pull guard, and Rivera-Calanoc is probably going to be in trouble there. So I got Jessica Penne winning that one. Okay, next fight after that, at 115 pounds, got the bad mofo, Jojo Calderwood, fighting Sarah White Tiger Schneider. Sarah Schneider is taking this fight on short notice. She has a 6-6 record. Very deceptive. She's a good fighter. 5 of those ones are by sub. 3 losses by KO or TKO. She's 32. She's strong off her back. She has some good overall grappling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. With Calderwood, though, 6-0 undefeated record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by decision. She's 26 years old. I'm really high on her now. I quite honestly think she is a future InvictaFC strawweight champion. Muay Thai is really strong. She'll use knees, elbows, whatever. She has a good jab too. She can fight distance if she wants. Haven't seen it too much, but I remember in SFL against Lena Hunter Ochini. I can't pronounce her last name. She did show some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. Calderwood. Well, I still have to see that what Namajunas and Torres can offer her, but if they ever fight. But like as of right now, it looks like Calderwood pretty much has like the best striking in the division, the best Muay Thai. She'll bust like crazy, geez, I don't know what it's called. It's like an elbow like that, an upwards type elbow. Knees. I mean, she finished Ashley Smashley Cummins with a knee to the body. I mean, she is a bad mofa. I gotta go with Joanne Calderwood to win this one. At 145 pounds, I think this is also a #1 contenders fight. Winner of this gets to winner of Cyborg versus Coenen. We got Julia the Jewel Bud versus Ediane India Gomes. This one's really hard for me to call because Gomes, really tough fighter, 10-2 record. One of those losses too is to like Ronda Rousey, 7 wins by sub, 1 win by TKO, 32 years old. She's on a 4-fight win streak. Her stand-ups are a bit wild. I mean, she will throw heavy leather. She trains at ATT. She does have a strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game as well. Julia Budd, though, 5-2 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. She's 29 years old on a 3-fight win streak. Her wrestling's been greatly improving. Actually, in her last, I think, 3 fights, she's just takedown, top control, maybe pass them out. Throw some ground and pound and whatnot. I think she got a choke on Marloes in her last fight. Good top control. She started out as a kickboxer as well. I'm gonna go with Bud to win this one. She's really strong. Her wrestling game's improving. Her top control's improving. She does have good kickboxing. I mean, despite getting knocked out by Amanda Nunes, who's a really good striker in her own right. I think that she can handle herself in most positions in the fight. Okay, next fight after that, at 115 pounds, we got Beck Rowdy Hyatt versus Miski Inoue. Inoue is only 18 years old, 5-1 record, with all 5 of those wins being by submission. She's on a 3-fight win streak. She has strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has a notable win over InvictaFC fighter Alex Chambers. Beck Hyatt, 5-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub. She's 24 years old. She's really well known for like being rowdy, but also in her fight against Esparza, she never gave up. And I was actually getting the better of the stand-up against her. Her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills aren't bad either by any stretch. I think she might be able to overwhelm Miski here in the stand-up. If it hits the ground, it'll be pretty interesting because Miski's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really good. But, I'll go with Beck Hyatt to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, at 135 pounds, we have Miriam, the Queen of Mean Nakamoto, versus Duda Diamond Yankovich. This is an interesting fight because you have 2 females that have some really strong Muay Thai and some good Muay Thai and overall kickboxing credentials. Yankovich, 1-1 record, pro record. She's 36 years old, trains at Team O'Gara. She's never been past the 2nd round. She does have good Muay Thai. She uses straight punches. She's really aggressive. One thing I've noticed, I don't think it'll be a factor in this fight, is that she doesn't have the best takedown defense. That's the thing with her. With Nakamoto, 2-0 record. Actually, I think it's 1-0 record of 1 no contest because her fight against Jessamine Duke got turned to a no contest. She's 36 years old as well. She's never been past the 2nd round. Oh my, my bad. I said with Duda, she's never been past the second round. I meant that Nakamoto's never been past the second round. She does have some good Muay Thai credentials and is a champion in a couple like organizations and whatnot. Really strong knees. That's her biggest thing. She's really mean in the clinch, man. Justine the Gun Duke can attest to that. And her stand-up overall is really good. I'll go with Miriam, the Queen of Mean Nakamoto, to win this one. Okay, on to the prelim card. At 115 pounds, the fight I'm looking forward to the most in the prelims, as Rose Thug Namajunas fights Tecia, the Tiny Tornado Torres. This one is so hard for me to call, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I really wish they did not set these two up. I'm not saying it's a bad matchup. It's a great matchup. But, man, I would have loved to see these two fight each other later in their careers. Both these two are definitely up-and-comers in the division. They're young, too. Namajunas is 20 years old. Torres is 23. And they look like they're going to head to the top of the division. I was kind of hoping they would head that way on separate paths and not encounter each other until later, but still a cool fight. Rose Thug Namajunas, 2-0 undefeated record. Both of her wins by sub. Her last one was by flying armbar. The one before that was against Emily Kagan, I believe, by standing rear naked choke. She's only 20 years old. Girlfriend of Pat Barry, trains at the academy. She's actually a good kickboxer, but you see a lot of her ground game as of late. Her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is really good. She's good off her back. She'll throw triangles and arm bars and whatnot. With Tecia Torres, though, 2-0 undefeated. Both wins of her pro wins are by decision. She's 23 years old. Trains at an American top team. Her cardio is just amazing. I mean, she can go like 10 rounds easy. Her kickboxing's really good. And her fights against like Paige Van Zandt and the one before that, she's pretty accurate. She throws in combinations. She has strong kicks as well. Her grappling's improving as well. Her takedown defense is getting a lot better, and her overall grappling is improving. This one is really hard for me to call. I'm gonna be honest. I think Tecia Torres is a bit more seasoned, and I think she has a really good chance to win it. To be perfectly honest with you. I would kind of actually favor her more. She comes off just a bit more seasoned, but I'm gonna go with Rose Namajunas to win this one. I'm curious to see where her stand-up goes on the ground. Namajunas has shown a lot more offensive submission ability and offensive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ability, but this fight can definitely go either way. Okay, next fight after that at 115 pounds, we have Ashley Smashley Cummins versus Emily Kagan. Cummins is a prospect that I'm pretty high on. 3-1 record. That one loss was to Joan Calderwood. 1 win by sub, 2 wins by decision. One of the more well-rounded prospects in women's mixed martial arts, to be perfectly honest with you. Her boxing's good, her wrestling's good, her ground game's not too bad either. 25 years old. Kagan, 2-1 record. Both those wins by decision. She's 31 years old. Trains at Jackson's. She's good into clinch and whatnot. I think that Cummins is just a little too well-rounded, and I got to go with Ashley Smashy Cummins to win this one. Okay, next right after that, at 145 pounds, we have Miss Molly Estes versus Veronica, the Heartbreaker Rothenhausler. It's kind of sad with Molly Estes because, she's a good fighter. It looks like she kind of gets fed to, these prospects. 145 isn't exactly the deepest division or anything. She has a 1-2 record, that one win being by decision. 37 years old. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. Stand-up solid, she's shown actually good knees. I remember against Randy Miller, she kept kneeing her in the face. Her takedown defense in that fight wasn't too bad, but then against Julia Budd, she couldn't defend the takedowns. Rothenhausler, 1-0 undefeated record. She's 23 years old. That one win is by KO against Catalina Malangahu. She is a brawler. Her technique is not great by any stretch of the imagination, but she does have one-punch knockout power. I expect that Rothenhausler will probably get like a KO or TKO win in this one. And finally, at 105 pounds, Cassie the Hulk Robb is fighting Livia T-Rex von Plettenberg. Von Plettenberg was originally supposed to fight Lorosenko until Lorosenko got pregnant and Cassie Robb took over. She has a 0-1 record, 22 years old, solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. With Von Plettenberg, 1-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 24 years old, trains at Team Quest. Surprisingly, she fought Joan Calderwood on short notice at 115, so she's fighting at 105 here. Man, she showed a good chin, man. She was taking some hard shots from Calderwood and was still in the fight. You know, she has a pretty good right hand as well. I gotta go with Livia T-Rex von Plettenberg to win this one. Okay, and to recap the main card, at the main event, 145 pounds, I have Cristiane Cyborg Justino beating Marloes Rumina Coenen. Claudia Gadelha beating Ayaka Hamasaki. Sarah DeLalio beating Lauren Taylor. Leslie the Peacemaker Smith beating Jennifer Maia. Jessica Penne beating Nick Daly, the Night Queen Rivera-Calanoc. The Bad Mofo Jojo Calderwood beating Sarah Schneider. Julia Budd beating Ediane Gomes. Beck Hyatt beating Mizuki Inoue. And Miriam Nakamoto beating Duda Yankovich. On the prelims, I have Rose Thug Namajunas beating Tecia the Tiny Tornado Torres. Ashley Smashy Cummins beating Emily Kagan. Veronica Rothenhausler beating Molly Estes. And Livia von Plettenberg beating Cassie Robb. So that's it for my predictions for InvictaFC 6. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for You. Thank you guys very much.